Regular meeting of the Ojai Valley Sanitary District Board of Directors. Excuse me, it's a special meeting at 6:04 p.m. Now open. We get a roll call, Allison?
Director Curtis? Jack, I'm doing roll call for the special meeting.
Oh, here.
Director Martinson? Sir Kintosh?
Still here.
Director Quilisi?
Yes,
Director Reed?
Here.
And then Chair Ulrich, and then for the record, Director Berg is not
Here and for the record.
Thank you.
Very good. All right. The Pledge of Allegiance. Would you lead it?
Let me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Right. Scott, are there any additions or amendments to the agenda?
Not that I know of.
Any public concerns for items not on the agenda? Seeing none and hearing none, we'll go to consent items 6, 7, and 8. Excuse me, 6, 7. Very astute. So the 27 meeting and review disbursement checks for the period of April 19th, 2026.
Do I have your?
Last.
It's approved.
Oh, that's right. It's last month.
It's
May
May
26th,
26th and
period of May 20th, 2026 to June 10th.
I'm glad you corrected me on that. Thank you. All right, so we need a roll call.
Approval of 6 and 7.
Okay. Second. Okay. All right. Go ahead.
Director Curtis?
Yes.
Director Martinson?
Yes.
Director Kintosh?
Yes.
Director Quilisi?
Yes.
Director Reed?
Yes.
And Chair Ulrich.
Yes. Okay, now we enter into the public hearing section. Item for 8, proposed ordinance number OVSD 87, amending the District Code of Regulations to establish sewer service charges. We're conducting the second reading by title only of this ordinance OVSD-87, amending the District Code of Regulations to establish sewer service charges. Allison, would you read, please?
Ojai Valley Sanitary District Ordinance Number OVSD 87, an ordinance of the Board of Directors of the Ojai Valley Sanitary District amending the District Code of Regulations to establish sewer service charges.
Very good. So we're going to open the public hearing on OVSD-7 at 6:07 p.m. Scott, staff report and recommendations, please.
Sure. I have a recommendation to increase the service rates from $64.14 to $82.26 a month. That's a 28.25% increase. The reason for that is, frankly, because of inflation that is affecting the United States and California. We have increasing regulatory requirements that we have to adhere to. We have some new, more strict regime from the state as it comes to sanitary sewer overflows. I'm expecting to come our way, and I want to get ahead of that. And we have aging infrastructure. The majority of the infrastructure that was installed in our collection system was installed in the 50s and the 60s. It has a limited life expectancy, and in order for us to mitigate that limited life expectancy and mitigate the sanitary sewer overflows that the state is requiring, we're proposing a rate increase to mitigate these issues. We've run the analysis, spent a deep time going through the analysis, and looked at it in all directions. I understand that it's a big rate increase, but it's my professional opinion that if we don't have this rate increase, it's going to be more expensive on the backside. And this is what I think is best for the district.
Okay. Then Allison, use the report of written communications.
We have received 21 written protests. 18 have been provided to the board. The other 3 will be provided after the meeting. They will all become part of the administrative record. And then I have, for the next item, I have 1 speaker.
Okay. So then this is the period for public comment. So we'll any person, member of the public would wish to make a comment. It's typically limited to 3 minutes, but obviously we can extend any latitude necessary. And I would ask that you simply identify yourself for the record. And
I have a B. Heckenlively.
I'd like to speak also after that person.
No, you're fine. Okay, noted, Rick.
Okay, thank you.
Start?
absolutely.
Okay, thank you. I'm B. Heckenlively, and I've worked in the past with some of these public work employees you might have also known, like Don Davis, Ron Calkins, Dan Rayburn, and also plant operators and line crews, all hardworking. The 28% sewer fee increase appears to be unusually high in comparison to other cities. And following are some examples. Ojai's proposed hike is from $64.14 to $82.26. The Simi Valley rate is from $56.73 to $58.17. This is a $1.99 increase. Note, a mobile home in Simi Valley would pay $34.04. A mobile home in Ojai is going to pay the full, what is it, the $84? $82.26. Standard homes in Ojai can have 6 adults and 5 children. That's a lot of showers and laundry. Senior community mobile homes usually have 1 or 2 people. And while water usage bills can be $17.12, they still pay the high sewer fee of $82 for sewer. You'd be charged more to process the $17 of water usage. Sacramento will pay $74.33 sewer fee. And we're beating that, right? We're $82.26. The city of LA will pay $60 sewer fee. San Diego will pay $54.25 sewer fees. Pasadena will increase a total of $16 a month for 1 single home unit. That's wow, $16 a month in Pasadena. What are they doing? So Ojai Valley now leads these cities in sewer fee charges with no variation in fees for senior communities. Is there a remedy to lower that? And like while the infrastructure here in the Ojai Valley is between the 50s and 60s, it's about the same for Ventura. 50s and 60s when a lot of the town houses were going in. Even you can increase it to the 30s when you move to the avenue, and we got the gray gables up here, I think, which was the 30s. So we do have older infrastructure with the 50s and 60s, and it's probably pretty much the same for Oxnard too. So, thank you for your time. Let us know if there is a remedy to help those people that have 1 or 2 people using water as compared to a household full of people.
Thank you.
I have a Kim Perrin.
My name's Kim Perrin. I live here in Miners Oaks. And my question is related to the phased approach was listed on the flyer. And it's, my question would, I'm curious, you say it's a phased approach that increases over each budget period. First of all, what is a budget period? And how many budgets are we talking this phase? So I'm assuming it's,
Is that a question you can answer, Scott?
Yes, I can. So I think the reality is that verbiage of phased approach came from previous Prop 218 notice. If you're looking for my extent of the phased approach is we're going to have a series of things to do over the next couple of years. We talked about that. The recommendations that I've made to the board is to consider a 5-year plan. If you're asking me specifically what the next approach is, what the next phase induction is going to be, I don't know, but our plan is to give that to the board in the beginning of 2027 for consideration to the next fiscal year.
And there was a second question regarding and ramps or increments.
It'd be for the fiscal year. So this, as far as what we have right now, is the only plan that I would have for an increase. I can't exclude another one in the future, but I haven't studied it.
Okay, and that's once again applicable to which fiscal year budget?
26, 27.
That answer your question?
well, it answers the question of what is the budget period, which is the fiscal year, which I assumed. But you're not indicating percentages? Is there going to be a cap on the subsequent increases? 28 is significant in 1 year.
Yeah, why can't it be graduated? Why do we have to do it all in 1 year? Can we do it?
We're not going to be all in 1 year. It's phased, additional year of increases.
Spread it out longer.
So I'm wondering, if, again, if there's a cap, you will have a cap. I understand you can't foresee expenses and how things go, price of inflation that we all experience. So I understand you can't foresee that in the future, but I would think there should be some sort of cap, reasonable cap on the phased increase that's coming.
Can I speak or do we have to put it on a card?
You can have the opportunity. I have one more speaker after, and then I think the chair has the opportunity to open the floor for any.
It's my concern. You answer it as you can at this.
Next.
I have Rick Vane.
Very good. Mr. Vane, you're up.
Yes, good evening. Thank you for allowing me to speak. I submitted a written statement for the record and respectfully request that it be included in part of tonight's hearing. I would like to focus on one issue, the impact of this increase on homeowners with ADUs. The district report discusses inflation, infrastructure needs, and operating costs. Those may be legitimate. However, for many ADU owners, this proposed increase does not exist in isolation. Many ADU owners already face capacity fees, additional sewer service charges, and other costs associated with providing housing that California has encouraged homeowners. As a result, some homeowners with a single parcel and a single sewer lateral are effectively paying what amounts to 2 residential sewer service charges. With this proposed increase, annual sewer charges for some ADU properties could approach or exceed $2,000 a year, not including any capacity fees that they may have been imposed or collected. My question is simple. What is the actual cost basis for assigning multiple sewer service units to a property that has a single parcel, a single sewer connection, simply because an ADU exists on that property? Before approving the 28.25% increase, Can the district explain the current balance of funds attributable to capacity fee revenues, how that balance has changed over the past year, what projects those funds have been spent on, and confirm that those funds are restricted for capital purposes, and explain how much additional capital funding is needed and why. I believe homeowners who provide much needed housing through ADUs deserve a clear answer. Thank you.
Thank you. Next.
I don't have any other speaker cards, but we may have.
Anyone like to bring a speaker card up to, clerk?
Okay,
Now's the time for that.
Here, I'll give you that.
perfect. You're welcome to step up. Okay, this is Julie Lovejoy.
I'm Julie Lovejoy. Thank you for giving me a chance to talk tonight. When I received the notification in the mail that there was going to be a proposed increase, I sort of shrugged and went, well, yeah, taxes, it all goes up, blah, blah, blah. Flipped it over and looked at the amount of the increase and my jaw dropped. I've gone through increases in another property that I own in San Bernardino, and it goes up by, $3 or $4 a year every time I get one of those letters. And this was unbelievable. And from what I'm hearing tonight, even though I got here late, I'm guessing it's because we have an ADU on our property, a junior ADU on our property. So my question is, in the light of seeing this as being extraordinarily high, and the fact that the state of California is trying to encourage us to put in ADUs to help ease the home availability options for people, why on earth would we be punished for doing what we've been encouraged to do all along? That's the first question. The second question is, why wasn't this addressed long ago so that we could have had a graduated, much more reasonable, graduated step up and increase 10 years ago, starting 10 years ago to now? I don't understand why we're being slapped with it all at once. That seems unreasonable and really unfair to homeowners. Thank you.
Anybody else have a speaker? Open up the floor to anybody else who wants to speak.
Yeah, the floor is open to anyone else who would like to make a comment.
I have a question. Do I have to get up there?
Yes.
Okay.
Can you state your name for the record?
Hi, I'm Beth Dornkamp. I agree with everything everybody said about it being a really high jump. And I understand you wanted to be proactive, but yet you haven't said exactly where the money is going to go. It seems like it's going to be put into a slush fund, but yet not directly used right away. And I understand that, but it's almost like paying too much for car insurance when you really don't need it. So I agree with the graduated, step process. There's a lot of seniors here in this valley, and a lot of us are obviously on fixed incomes, and we can't afford such a big increase. A lot of people are being moved out of this valley because of that, let alone the state. I mean, we all know that we're exiting in droves. So my idea would be to step back, really assess what needs to be done, tell everybody exactly what it's going to cost, and go from there. And not just say, well, we see infrastructure is going to need it, this is going to be needed. We need direct wisdom and guidance, not saying you're not wise, but just exactly where this money is going to go and how it's going to be spent. And then we should be able to make a decision as a community, whether we're willing to spend that kind of money and put out this kind of money. Another thing is the seniors, how about giving us a better discount? How about capping it for seniors? How about, she had mentioned raising the tourist tax and let some of these people that are coming in from other areas that obviously can afford to rent out the whole Ojai Valley Inn for a week, put into it using a lot of sewer. They're probably using more sewer than we are with their spas and everything else they're doing. So those are just a few of my suggestions. I greatly oppose this. I don't think we should have such an increase. I think we should do it graduated. I think there should be a cap on senior citizens. I think there should also be a discount for senior citizens. Thanks.
Thank you. Anyone else?
I'll jump on into that.
Absolutely.
My name's Chris Anaker. I have an objection letter I'll leave with the clerk, I guess, but I'll just give an idea of what it is. It just basically suggests that we had some kind of clear and accessible to all ratepayers, a straightforward public format such as mailing or website posting, to be able to understand what is legally required now, what is the most cost-effective way to comply now, what steps were taken to reduce the amount taxpayers must pay, ratepayers, and then what projects remain necessary, which ones can be delayed, and what they cost in today's dollars. I requested a lot of the documents, and I don't think I got much use out of them, and found master plan was 2020, which is 6 years ago. And then with that letter, I'm leaving respectfully some key questions that I would like to see answered if you can. This is these kind of questions I think we're kind of finding out going on here. We're like, what's going on? Why are you doing this? So I just wanted to point that out. Are you the clerk?
I am.
I'll leave this with you after. Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, then I'm gonna close the public hearing on this matter at 6:26. Excuse me?
One more thing, I have one quick question. This is related to what you were explaining, the costs. You delineated out future infrastructure, et cetera. How did you come to the 28% increase? How did you come to that figure? You were figuring out your costs. How did you come to that?
You know, I think we'll wind up answering that, some of these other questions when we get into the board
Certainly.
discussion. So at this point, I'm going to close the public hearing at 6:26. Excuse
I
me.
had just one quick question. How long ago was it that there was an increase?
The last increase, you mean?
Last year.
And how much was it?
Okay, well, see, and we'll address that as well. Okay. Any other hands about to go up here? I'll straighten it down. Okay, very good. In that case, I'm going to close the public hearing at 6:27. Discussion by the board of directors. Before I initiate that and allow you, I'd like to say something. Let's go with any comments or by any members of the board. We'll go through chair, so it's not free range, so to speak. But I would like to make the observation and comments related to some of the questions that came up. Number one, if there are questions, the staff at the sanitary district remain available to for folks to come in and actually speak about it, because it takes a lot of time from both parties, the initiator of the query, as well as the response by staff to deal with that kind of stuff in writing, emails, or otherwise. You can move a lot faster through questions and answers in that manner, number one. Number two, most of the information that's been referenced as where is this stuff is available either on the website, and my experience with public agency websites is they can be a little murky and hard to access. But once again, staff will help you with that. Where to find it? Number three, and this is where I'm going to end things, rate increase comparisons. Current rates as well as higher rates, you should look at two things. One is the history of rate increases for the sanitary district, starting in 1989 formation. And number two, look at other communities in Ventura County, other sanitary district agencies in Ventura County, Any place outside have a different set of issues. And you will find, I think you will be quite surprised how much some of the other, there's only 7 incorporated cities in Ventura County. You will be quite surprised how at least 2 or 3 of them, how high their rates are. And I would start with Camarillo in that zone. And how much they've gone up recently. So having said that, discussion on board, I'd like to go first.
There's lots of questions. Where's the data? How did we do it and all that? These meetings are filmed. You can go onto the website and there'll be a packet. There's the agenda, packet, a video, and maybe some other documents. I think what we could do perhaps is go back and relabel some of those to say budget, just so that people don't try to go through every single month trying to find which one it was. And because the net of it is, in my mind, I'm violent. Well, I don't know, I'm not violent, but I'm opposed to rate increases in general. And I told Scott when they came forward with this one that there was no way in hell we were going to do that. But then they started showing us the data. And the real problem started in 2023 with the 2 storm damage problems we had over in San Antonio Creek and also along the Ventura River. That cost us somewhere around $5.2 million to repair that. We applied for FEMA funds to reimburse us, and to date, they've put in about $1 million of it. And so that had a tremendous impact on our available funds to do work. Coupled with that is right now we have a pipeline along the Ventura River. The river is steadily eroding towards that pipeline. And if we fail to move it, which is about 1.8 million, Liz, you can tell me the right number. I think it's around 1.8 million. If we fail to move that line and we have another spill, cost to repair that is probably going to be significantly more the cost to proactively move the thing so that we don't have a similar circumstance. In addition to these, anytime there's a spill, you have the potential for fines from various government agencies, whether they're justified or not, they'll still fine you. And so, and we've got the other thing about this district in particular, they said, we've got a trunk line now that was actually replaced in '69 when the river took a section out of it. And now we've got section is now what, 56 years old, and it's got problems. And so we're going to have to replace that. That's another $1.5 million just for that. And so these are projects we're going to have to do in the next year and a half. It's not going to a slush fund. It's going to real projects. And Liz has been hounded by me to get them started as soon as possible so that we don't have a problem if there's an El Nino this fall. And so, the problem we have is we've got a 1969 car in the year 2026. And so we have a choice, do you repair it? Do you let it fail and fix it when it breaks, which is going to cost you a lot more, or you buy a new one? And in this case, we have to run these lines 24/7, 365, year after year after year after year into the, you and I will long be dead when they're still operating these lines. And so always in the future, there's going to be a time where we're going to need some money to fix things that are aging. Right now, we've got stuff that's, 40, 50 years old that has known problems. And, because of the spill in 2023, we've examined the lines. We found some problems we didn't anticipate, in particular, the line that's now being eroded by the riverbank that we have to move, or we're going to have another spill, and just other things. The other problem Ojai faces is, a lot of these communities are growing. Ojai is not. So while our infrastructure is aging, the costs are going to go up to replace all that stuff, mitigate repairs. It's the same number of people that are paying into it. We don't have an expanding population, and yet we've got a failing infrastructure. So in effect, over the next 10 years, we're going to have to rebuild most of it. And that's why he was talking about a phased approach. We know we're going to have to do these things. We also know we can't do everything in 1 year. We know that we haven't found all the problems. There may be some that develop tomorrow that we don't know about that we're going to have to take care of. What we're particularly concerned about is, as in 2023, there were extremely, high volumes of water going down those rivers and the creek, and it took out our lines. That's something we could not have anticipated. We have no authority as a district to put riprap along the river to protect our lines. And so in the case that we're looking at now, the Ventura, we've got to move it. And so all of these things cost money, and they're not necessarily predictable. And, as I mentioned before, the FEMA money did not come in. That would have offset, had we gotten that this year, that would have offset the need for this rate increase. And so what I'm hoping personally is that FEMA does come up with the money over the next year or so. And that so when we're looking at these projects, next spring, next early summer, what projects do we now need to continue on with? What are the next most important ones? That we have money in the bank, we don't need to go for a rate increase, next year. So that's why Scott's saying we can't predict whether we're going to need an increase or not, or how much it will be. Historically, this district has been very frugal in the sense of, we haven't had to go out and borrow money. We haven't had huge rate increases, 4%, as you mentioned last year. Some years it was none. We've tried to manage our money and our projects such that we don't have, big increases. But unfortunately, the 2023 problem has created a big increase need. And it's pressing. It's not something we can avoid. And that, in the end, is what swayed me to vote for the increase. As I'm an engineer and I know what happens. I was in the oil business, so I know what happens when you fail to maintain your lines. It's going to cost you a lot of money. You need to take care of it. And so we need to do that really as soon as we can. So I fully supported the raise. I'm on a fixed income too. And so, as are my friends and neighbors. So I certainly understand. Someone brought up the points about, single person residence versus a whole house. And that was one of the things when I first came to the board is, that seemed very strange to me that everybody was getting the same fee. We had some discussions at that time with the general manager. We don't have a way to meter usage.
With the previous general manager.
Yeah, the previous general manager, Scott. We don't have, we can measure water into your house, but we have no way to measure what's coming out. Now, theoretically, you'd say, well, it's what's going in, it's what's going out. But the reality is a lot of it goes to irrigation and we can't split it out. So that, your comment of maybe there's something we could do about that, I'd take that to heart. Maybe there is something we can do about that.
Because there's a water increase coming too.
What?
There's a water increase coming too.
I'm sure there is.
Tomorrow there's a hearing on that.
Oh, I did. Well, I guess I missed that one in my mailbox. But anyway, so I appreciate your comments, and at least, that was my perspective why I voted for it, even though I didn't like it one little bit. And Scott knows I didn't like it one little bit. But, it's a picture's worth 1,000 words. When you see lines in the shape they are, and you just gotta do something.
You did say that reasonably it would be specific problems that you dealt with in the years to come. 28% is to cover many, many projects.
It's to cover just the projects we have on our list today. Liz has already started, asking for engineering price estimates to actually do the work. The way it works is
It seems if you're doing one big project a year, we should be able to pay for that and not projects that you can't get to.
It's not one project a year. We have, well, you can look at the budget, but there's what, $4 or $5 million worth of projects that we have that are aside from just our operating. Our operating expenses haven't gone up that much. It's just these pipeline issues that we're facing now are the problem. And again, we can add something to our website that says which of the monthly meetings have a budget. In those, there'll be there'll be documents of, what the projects are for, how much each one of them is. And I think Lizzie's has timelines as to when we're going to start on them and all that. So, the data is out there, it's available.
Was this written in stone? And there was really no reason for us to come and voice our opinion. It's going to be pushed through whether we like it or not.
The district has rules about, if there's a proposal like this, voted for on the board, then there's rules about how many people have to protest before it gets kicked back, so to speak. I don't know what that number is. I think it's over half.
2/3.
Of your actual jurisdiction.
That's a long-standing rule within the district and maybe other districts too. So to answer the question directly, there's not enough of you here to tell us to stop. But there are enough of you here to tell us to listen. Maybe there's some things that we can address, such as the single person residence versus other ones. But, we really can't do that tonight. Something that take several months, I'm sure, to work out, but we do listen.
Thank you. Thank you for explaining your position. You were very good.
Okay. Walter? Yeah. You want?
Yeah, I'd like to just spend a few minutes trying to explain why I support the rate increase. First of all, Lowell did a good job of going into a lot of the details, and he's covered a lot of my points. Also, I think that Scott's staff report in the board packet is very well written and concise. So anybody that wants to see a good summary can start there. I believe that aging infrastructure is a lot like the weather. Everyone talks about it, but no one wants to do anything about it. And Lowell has already mentioned the 2023 storms. And we now have a new general manager who's now been with us for over a year. He's been studying the system, thinking about what needs to be done with it, and he made some recommendations to us. If anybody wants to really see a good presentation at our April 20th board meeting, Scott gave us a slideshow where he described some of the projects. And the one that's stuck in my mind is there's one place in south of Highway 150 where the river has slowly moved from about 200 feet away from our pipeline within about 25 feet of our pipeline. And that's really a dramatic set of photographs. It's only one of several projects he's identified that need to be done. These projects need to be fixed. I'd rather ask for more money today or ask for money today than ask for more money tomorrow. Our grandkids are going to be inheriting enough debt, so I'd rather pay as we go. That's just my in a nutshell.
Thank you. My background is different from Lowell's. He's an engineer in the petroleum business. I'm a physicist in the aerospace business. Like Lowell, I live on Social Security and savings. I'll be 80 next month. So I think I share some common ground with a lot of folks here in the Valley already. If you look back, and I'm not sure exactly which set of meeting minutes it's in or response to a question, I ask a lot of questions every meeting of the staff, and they do a great job of educating me. But if you look at what the sewer service charge rates have been in the district over the last, say, 20 years, I believe that the average annual increase is about 5% or thereabouts. And one could argue that 5 or 6 years ago, when COVID hit and a lot of people were not working, and then inflation hit worse than usual with the last administration, we went 3 years with no rate increase. And I think we did 2.5. And I think we did 4. Arguably, we should have done 5 or 6% every year during that period. The board at that time felt that was too much of a burden. And now we're having to catch up. The projects that we have lined up to repair this system. Total, I think the last thing I heard from Liz was something over $40 million. Our annual income is around 10. And we use a lot of that just to keep everything running. And so eat away at that $40 million worth of projects. We're going to have to take a phased approach. We take the most urgent programs and we deal with those first, and then the next most urgent. And the last time, and as maybe Jim mentioned, we have been operating on a pay-as-you-go philosophy for a number of years before I joined the board in 2018. The last time district issued bonds, that is assumed debt, interest, principal of which has to be paid back by the ratepayers, was 10 years ago. That was to refinance some older bonds from 2003 and 2007, I think. And since then, while we're paying down the 2016 bonds, we're doing that out of current income, and we are not proposing to go into debt and lay that much more of a principal and interest repayment load on our ratepayers. We will move as judiciously as we can to upgrade the system and change rates as little as possible any given year. Those of you that have been around for a while will remember the big rains of January 2023, January 2024. 23 knocked out, broke our two main lines. Call it an act of God if you want. The insurance companies don't look at it that way. They say it's our fault. Our Regional Water Quality Control Board, Los Angeles, seems inclined to say you should have done something about that. You should have known that the river would eat away 30 feet of cliff above which our pipeline was, another 10 feet up to the bike path or the railroad that many of you may be familiar with. If you ate away that 30 feet of cliff with river water, the 10 feet above the sewer line is going to break the sewer line. Okay. We right now are in jeopardy of having a $10 million fine against the district from the Regional Water Quality Control Board. We are trying to mitigate that with the help of our district council, but we don't know where that's going yet. That fine would eat an entire year worth of ratepayer money. I don't like the increase either, but I am sadly convinced that we need it. One of the letters said, does this mean there's going to be 28% rate increase next year? My personal feeling is no, that's not going to be the case. But we are trying to manage the money that we have from ratepayers as frugally as possible, as efficiently as possible. And I'll give you an example. Many people know that a few years, well, starting 6-7 years ago, when we started to rebuild the treatment plant and down there behind the Ventura City water plant. The first estimate that we had from engineers that we hired to look at what we needed to do to meet the ever increasing state regulations on which we have to live with the water that comes out of our plant. They said, I think 12 to 15 million. They may have said 15 to 20. I don't remember the exact numbers. Our staff worked through those estimates, looked at alternatives, and we wound up making the changes to our treatment plant that were necessary to meet the July 1st, 2025 new pollution standards, if you will, cut the cost down to between 8 and 10 million. That's because we have smart people working here and they have an inclination to do the right thing as inexpensively as possible. And I believe that that is what we're doing now. Liz is a superstar, and the people that she brings in to advise are very good. And we will treat the ratepayers' money very carefully. It is not a matter of there must be money out there, so why don't we just go grab some? All of us, by definition, live in the district. We represent 6 different pieces of the sewer district. And all of us are getting hit with the same thing. And at least some of us are certainly, as the lawyers say, similarly situated to a number of our ratepayers. We're retired, we're living on fixed income. We don't like the idea of paying more for anything. But this is a case where we have not just the aging infrastructure, but we have some urgent needs in capital projects that we have to do now. One last thing, and I give you a little statistical view of the district. We have 7,000 accounts, something like that.
2,600.
And we have 120 miles of sewer lines. And that's because housing in the Ojai Valley or in the district's area of operation is very spotty. We have to accommodate people that live down by the Pepsi plant, and we have people that live up at the far east end of the city of Ojai. And the number of miles of sewer line that we have to maintain and inspect and clean out and reline when there are leaks. And believe me, there are plenty of leaks in 50 and 60 and 70-year-old pipes. The number of people that are paying for the service is much smaller than if you were looking at an area like Ventura, Oxnard, Thousand Oaks, or Los Angeles. All of those areas of operation are much more densely populated. Many more ratepayers per mile of sewer line. If I can just give you a ratio there. We are blessed to live in the Ojai Valley. I live in the city myself, city of Ojai, and I love it. I also recognize that the low density of population, ratepayers and commercial counts makes it harder for all of us. On the other hand, if we had comparable density to the newer parts of Oxnard or the newer parts, well, not necessarily Camarillo, but say Los Angeles, you know, there you've got another ratepayer every 50 or 100 feet along every line of sewer. Here we don't have that. We have that in a few places in the city of Ojai. Then we've got long lines connecting all these pockets of population, if you will. And I appreciate the fact that we are not so densely populated here in the Ojai Valley. I think it's something that makes it the special place it is. But it does mean, and you find it with the water system as well, they have to pump water all the way to the other side of Ojai at least, and we have to collect sewage from the other side of Ojai. And it takes more facilities per ratepayer than the average if you look at larger cities around the country, around the state, around the county. It's just, it's a problem that we have to live with. And I think if you consider the implications of high density population and low density, you might agree that we're better off living with it. It's a good place to live, but in some ways, the more expensive place, water and sewer in particular. So, thank you.
You're welcome, and I'd like to point out that you're ever so sonorous postulating. You have put Jack to sleep. Oh, no, he's back.
Thanks.
Okay.
I've done that before.
I know. Me too. Is there anyone else that'd like to make any comment?
I really don't have any more to add other than, what's been said up here already. But I would comment that the staff did a really good job of presenting the information to us to make us understand, because none of us wanted a rate increase of this size. It's been said, we're all paying the same rate.
That's the justification for the rate increase is available. It's not pretty to read, but it's there. And I'd also like to add something that oftentimes slips between the cracks in these considerations is the sanitary district, since what we do, one of the two pillars of civilization, clean water, drinkable water, and sewage treatment, without which no civilization. Well, the water end of it, they have regulations they have to deal with. Sewage treatment is constantly, annually, undergoing review as far as environmental conditions and as well as state and federal regulation. And often, and in particular, the Ojai Valley Sanitary District, because our byproduct, in other words, the liquid that comes out of our plant is treated 3 times, tertiary treatment, and it goes right into the Ventura River. And there's at least a half a dozen agencies that monitor that on a weekly, if not monthly basis. And the environmental regulations that apply to any sanitary district in the state of California are increasing annually. And environmental regulation just isn't words. It usually requires changes in process, materials, upgrade of equipment, operating methodologies,
More frequent testing.
more frequent testing. It's like anything else. And that isn't justifying but a portion of any rate increase, but it's there. And it's something that doesn't get talked about and usually goes over everybody's heads, including mine oftentimes. So on that note, is there any other comment from any board members? Anything, Jack?
You're muted, Jack.
Unmute him.
Wish I could. Hopefully I'll try. I can request it.
Stuff, I think.
You're muted, Jack.
Jack, hit your mute button, please. Unmute yourself.
Move on.
Okay. All right. In that case, then I'm going to ask for a roll call to adopt ordinance OVSD -87, new rates effective 1 July 2026. I need a motion and a second.
I'll move it.
Second.
Second.
Okay. Allison, roll call, please.
Dennis, do we need to try to get Jack to unmute? Because he really needs
Aye.
for this. Jack, can you unmute, please?
Yes. Wave yes.
Can you hear me, Jack? Wave yes if you can hear me. Oh, I'm going to circle back around to him. Director
He
Murphy.
abstained.
Yes.
Director Kintosh,
Yes.
Director Quillisi,
Yes.
Director Reed,
Yes.
Jack, we're voting for the rate increase. Can you nod your head or say yes or no?
You're muted, Jack. Can you raise your hand if you agree?
Thank you. Noted. And then Cheryl.
Yes. Okay. Thank you, Jack. Item number 9, sewer service charges for collection on tax rolls for fiscal 2026-7, public hearing. Item A, adopt resolution number 2026-04 regarding collection of sewer service charges by the County of Ventura. And B, adopt Exhibit A, the report listing parcels with the final amounts to be collected for fiscal year 2026-2027 for reentry on the general tax roll for collection in fiscal year 2026-27. And then C, conduct a public hearing. So I'm going to open the public hearing on resolution 2026-04 at 7 o'clock. Exactly. Scott, you have a staff report? Or Allison?
I think I'll do it.
Okay.
So this is our annual public hearing. This is to place parcels on the tax roll for collection of sewer service fees. For the first time, those owners were notified directly by certified letter that they'll be entering the tax roll for sewer service fees for the first time this year. And then all of the other parcels will be re-entering tax roll. They were previously billed, but we do this every single year. And just for the public, so they know, it costs about 21 cents a parcel to to have our sewer service fees collected via the tax roll. It would cost probably somewhere ranging about $500 a year per parcel. If we had to actually send out bills like you get for your tax service or your water service, and then also engage any sort of collection service and have ample staffing for this. So this is a very, very efficient, cost-effective way to collect our sewer service fees. That's why you don't get a monthly bill from us. The list of parcels that will be entered on the tax roll in totality are listed in the binder here. They are available for public viewing at any point in time. This is a big formality to notify the public that this is the method in which we'll be collecting sewer service fees for the fiscal year 2027.
Very good. Report of written communications by the clerk of the board. Any written communications specific to this?
Yes, I have a public comment written notice from Rick Bain for this item. I don't know if it will be made part of the administrative record. I don't know if he wants to speak directly about that.
Mr. Bain, do you want to make a comment on item 9? Mr. Bain?
Hello,
Hear you now.
this is Rick. Are you giving me a chance to speak?
Yeah, it relates to the written communication you submitted regarding resolution 2026-04. If you don't want to make any further comments, submitted to writing.
Can't hear you guys, I'm sorry. I'll try to follow up later. But
Very good. Okay. In that case, then, is there any public comment? Anybody do any?
I have nothing other than that.
Because I mean, does everyone understand that this is a formality? This is how the rate increase gets billed, if you will, to new individuals who are not previously on the tax rolls. Okay. In that case, then, I'm going to close the public hearing at 7:03. And we have any discussion by the board?
I think maybe a little bit more explanation of what we're doing here might be in order for the folks that are here. Every year, look at your property tax bill and it has a line for sewer service. That's based on decision that we make every year, as Allison was saying, to have the county collect that money rather than have us increase our operating expenses exorbitantly, if you will, by sending out monthly bills to everyone like E.J. Harrison does, Casitas Water does. It's another way in which the district is minimizing its expenses that you as ratepayers have to pay. I'd like also to circle back, and I forgot to make before. One of you asked if we're only paying $14 for water, pay 82 for sewer service. If you lived in the city of Ventura, where the water system and the sewer system were both part of the same government entity, then the sewer system could look at the water system if they chose to, if the city council, whatever, chose to, they could base one on the number of the other. We are not in that position. High Valley Sanitary District does not have legal access to anyone's water bill. And unless we have access to everyone's water bill, we can't base sewer charges on water bills, because that would be treating one ratepayer differently from another. We are simply not allowed to do that by state law. So I hope that answers one question. If you're more curious about what all the rates have been and what they're paying for, all that information online. You can go to ohisan.org, go to public meetings, look at what was discussed every meeting, including this one will be there. Well, I guess we'll approve the minutes our next monthly meeting,
Video will be up tomorrow.
and the video will be up soon. But as Lowell said, we're not happy with this. We are listening. And I would urge all of you to take the time to listen as well. The information is out there. Take a look at it, evaluate it for yourself. Come back to any one of our meetings and say, here you're doing a good job, there you're doing a bad job, because we want to know that from you. You're paying for the operation of this system. You have the right to tell us whether we're doing well or ill in operating and maintaining it for you. So please do that. Thank you, sir.
I'd also like to point out that as far as the cohort of ratepayers, every one of us is a ratepayer as well as a board member. So this applies to us too. So, what else?
I just want to say I'm intrigued by the idea of senior citizens rated. We might want to talk about that next.
There may be a constitutional issue there.
There very well could be.
As well as a Prop 2.
As well as a Prop 218.
Definitely a Prop 218.
Yeah. So it's
Withdraw my comment.
okay. Yeah, we're talking about the state law here. Okay. In that case, then no further comment, discussion by the board of directors. We'll move on to motion in a roll call, please. Good. Second.
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Director Curtis,
Yes.
Director Martinson, Director Kentosh,
Thank you all for coming.
Director Flossie,
Yes.
Director Reed, Carol Ulrich.
Yes. Okay, item number 2, sewer capacity charges paid in installments collected on the tax rolls for fiscal year 2026-27. Public hearing. Item A, adopt resolution number 2026-05 regarding collection of capacity charges by the county. B, adopt exhibit A, the report listing parcels with the final amount to be collected for fiscal year 2026-27. Re-entry on the general tax roll for collection in fiscal year 2026-27. And conduct these other ones too. No. Okay, so I'm going to open a public hearing on item, on resolution 2026-05 at 7:09. The staff report.
Yes.
Allison?
So this is very similar to the prior agenda item. These will go on tax roll also. But these are specific parcels that have purchased capacity and chosen to finance it through the district. So they are an installment payment. Each annual installment is entered into the tax roll on a per year basis. So the A list will be anybody who's currently on an active deferred agreement. Call them. A B list is anybody who has entered into a deferred agreement and will enter tax roll for their first payment this coming tax year. And there's a sample amortization schedule in the packet, so you can kind of see what it looks like. They're labeled by tax year. And once again, binder over there has all of the parcels that will be sent to the tax assessor for collection for 26-27. We are required to notify anybody entering the tax roll for a payment installment agreement by certified letter. A sample of that is also enclosed. And conduct a public hearing for adoption of the resolution, which authorizes the tax assessor to actually collect those amounts for us.
Good. Were there any written communications received?
I do have one written communication from Rick Bain. It does not look like he's on anymore. It will be part of the administrative record.
Okay, then is there any public comment on item resolution number 2026-05? Hearing no public comment, close the public meeting at 7:11. And we'll ask if there are any discussions by the board of directors. Mr. Quillisi.
I think that we should, for the record, note that on item 10, where people are entering into long-term payment of their capacity charges, this is not the monthly service charge. This is the capacity charge for annexing to the district. That the district allows for 5 and I think 15,
10 and 15.
5, 10 or 15 year payouts for those charges at 0 interest
On 5 years.
on 5 years. Oh, okay. 0 interest on 5, which is the route that most people take if they want to defer, is spreading the cost over 5. It's at 0 interest.
Anyone else? Okay, in that case, then entertain a motion. Second. Motion to approve.
Number 10, I'll second.
Very good.
Number 10.
Roll call, please.
Director Curtis,
Yes.
Director Martinson, Director Kintosh,
Yes.
Steve,
Yes.
Director Reed,
Yes.
Chair Ulrich.
Okay, action items 11, A and B, replacement of IT equipment, failed uninterruptible power supply, UPS for server rack. A, authorized general manager to accept a proposal from CED Royals dated June 4, 2026, in an amount not to exceed $26,000 and $26,089.15. And B, adopt budget adjustment number 2026-3, transferring $6,090 from the contingency and stabilization reserve fund to major expenditures admin to cover the purpose of these items. Any discussion?
I have a question for staff that I hadn't gotten an answer to yet, and I guess this is for Dan. Indication in the staff report was that UPS is the uninterruptible supplies that have failed. We're supporting critical network, server, and other functions. And so my question was and is, what are we doing to protect a critical network, server, and other operations now that the UPSs have failed.
So currently, everything in the rack has a dual power supply. So half of them are plugged into just this then into a surge protection strip essentially. The other half is plugged into a little battery box, like a Jackery or I don't know if you've ever heard of one of those, but it gives us enough time for me to run out there and gracefully shut everything down. So maybe.
Makes a middle of the night call out easy thing.
And these were the APC units that failed? How long ago did they actually fail?
2 weeks ago today. There was a power surge and
Yes, timeliness. Power surge you mean from Edison power surge?
yes,
Anybody talk to those rascals?
yes.
And they said, oh, anything about it. How did I know that?
Said what power surge?
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Scott.
They could get called on that if we had voltage recording device, but I don't know how expensive those things are. Because I know they have them a lot in the South where I'm familiar, because they have apparently a lot of outages.
Power shutoffs in Florida are kind of a tradition.
Yeah, well, but I mean, if the plausible deniability factor gets reduced significantly when you've got some proof versus, our records don't. So on and so forth. Okay, anybody else?
Yeah, as a procedural matter, this kind of qualifies as a new emergency. Increase your authorization limit above.
Yes, you did increase it. Dan and I talked about it. It was our opinion that given the surge protectors that Dan was able to implement, that this would be prudent for me to bring it to you guys for your consideration. That is what I've done.
How much time is it going to take to get the Eaton?
I'm told a week.
There we go.
This was 29,000 pounds.
$6,090.
My recommendation would be
Execute.
use the authority that you have next time and go do it. That's why we gave you that.
I will mention too that obviously all the servers and all that network was protected in this process. We would have lost hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Yeah, no. Yeah. That's,
So he's doing his job.
always the weakest link.
Yeah, it did its job really well. Yeah. Unfortunately, I had a catastrophic.
Yes, I've heard about those. Other Edison. Okay. All right.
I'll move approval of 11.
Second.
Okay.
Mr. Curtis?
Yes.
Mr. Martinson?
Yes.
Mr. Bush?
Yes.
Mr. Posey?
Yes.
Director Reed? Chair Ulrich?
Yes. Okay, item 12, continuation of post-retirement health benefits discussion. I've been advised that Director Curtis will not be participating in the discussion and will be recusing himself. Is that correct, Jack?
That's correct.
Oh, because he's a retiree.
Correct.
There's a conflict.
So board to discuss and provide staff direction. Be presentation or a report. Thank you.
Sure. This was on the, if you remember, and we kind of ran out of time in case there was any more robust conversation that needed to happen. So the summary is that our handbook, as well as the cafeteria benefits resolutions, state that current employees and retirees will be given a cafeteria allowance of currently $2,650 to use for their medical insurance premiums. The only difference between retirees and active employees is that active employees also have a $650 maximum cash back benefit. Retirees do not have that benefit once they leave the district. It has come to our attention that retirees that are Medicare eligible or are required to enroll in Medicare are not able to utilize the full 2650 allowance because of an administrative issue. That issue is that CalPERS will only allow you to choose one Medicare plan off of their menu, and it takes two to maintain 100% coverage. The reason behind it is that they say you can only pick one plan off. If you pick two Medicare plans so that you have primary Medicare B and Medicare B supplement with a prescription plan, there are some overlapping benefits, so they consider it double dipping. So they say you can only choose one of the two that we offer. So who administers the other 50%, if you will, is Social Security, either by direct billing or by Social Security deduction, depending on whether the retiree has paid in or has paid in only a portion of the quarters required. And so that varies from employee to employee. The actual cost of primary Medicare B through Social Security also can vary greatly, depending on if they fall into the high earning category when they retire. And so we've noticed that data has said that premium responsibility for a retiree can range anywhere from $202.90 to over $700. That is assuming that they've paid in all their quarters with Social Security. If they have not, it can be closer to $1,100. And the district would only be paying approximately $600 of their post-retirement benefits in that situation. So not even 50%. So what staff is proposing, if the board did in fact intend for retirees, Medicare and otherwise to utilize the full 2650, have 100% medical coverage, which would be like benefits to when they were here, which is what the resolution and the employee handbook states, then we would have to reimburse those Medicare retirees for the premiums in which are deducted from their Social Security or paid directly to Social Security, because CalPERS will only apply the 2650 to the plan in which they administer. They do not get involved in any other plan premiums that are paid either to Social Security or off of the insurance exchange, if you will, because some people actually choose to do it that way. The only positive part about the situation is that we currently have a significantly overfunded retirement benefit trust with CalPERS. It is super funded, so it is funded basically in perpetuity. You're never going to run out of money unless something drastically happens with our number of employees or the patterns of employees who retire at a certain age. Our actuarial basically says that it is overfunded by I think it's about $2.5 million in perpetuity. If we were to allow our retirees the use of the 2650, that retirement benefit trust would last about 8 to 10 years, at which time would need to contribute to that trust fund, or they can choose to no longer utilize the trust fund, pay all of it, and then pay for it directly out of operational funds. We currently utilize the trust fund. Our current retiree benefit premiums reimbursed at the end of every fiscal year. So we front the premiums that are billed to us by CalPERS, which are currently about $235,000 a year. And actually, you just signed the reimbursement for this fiscal year, and they'll send us a check within about 45 days. This would just result in a higher request for disbursement out of the trust fund. I've already spoken with the CalPERS Retirement Benefit Trust representatives. This is perfectly permissible use of funds. In other districts, in agencies who offer very similar generous benefits for retirees, that is actually how they rate to cover 100% coverage for Medicare retirees. They essentially have some sort of process where retirees show proof of payment or deduction. Schedule it is that they administratively feasible. And then that gets and then the district would reimburse them for those portions. Those evidence of payments get attached to our request for reimbursement, and they are verified, and then that becomes an additional line item on our reimbursement request. I loosely spoke with our actuary, who does our actuarial reports for our auditor and for the state regarding our post-retirement benefits liability. It's estimated that changing this practice would increase our post-retirement benefits liability by about 58%. And that is a very back of the napkin calculation based on our current employees, their estimated retirement age, our current employee pool of retirees. It's a little bit of voodoo math, if you actuarials, but
That reflected in dollars, the 50%. So,
well, that's a little bit tough. So you have to assume that they're going to have full use of the 2650, because we actually don't know what these retirees pay directly to Social Security. We do not have that data. And so I can't for certain say. All I can say is that it's between 202.90 and somewhere around, $600, $700, $800, depending on the data that we've seen. Like I said, I don't have access to know what somebody's Medicare arrangement is after they leave here, other than the plan they've chosen from CalPERS.
and how many currently Medicare qualified?
We have, let's see. I'm going to say it's all but 3 of our retirees, so 17-ish.
16 to 15, but 17.
I think it's about 17, because we actually have had several recent retirees that are not Medicare age yet and have dependents, so they are on a very different schedule.
So to make it clear for me, this is for the retiree only, not for their spouse, not for their family.
It is for their spouse and any dependents, and there's some nuances to this, and I'll tell you why. And it will allow them to use the full 2650, because our actual resolution says that it is for the employee and their dependents. They can use the 2650 for. There are some hybrid cases where we will have a Medicare retiree who is married to somebody who is not Medicare age yet, and they're on like a combo plan. It is quite a bit more expensive, and they may even have dependents and so they actually take Medicare and one of the other plans, and that's the only circumstance in which you can leverage multiple plans on CalPERS menu, and those folks will use the full 2650 because we are paying multiple premiums for them. But that would be the case. Most people leave here and we save a little bit of money. They become Medicare age. If they leave here and they are not, or they have dependents that are not, it costs us pretty much the same as if they were.
So if I'm retired, and claim my 26-year-old daughter as a dependent, we would cover her.
But when she's 26, she was 25.
What?
She was 25 now when she's 26.
25 is
They'll
limit.
give you a boot. I think it's 26.
Is that a federal rule? I
Off
would
the
make
roll.
21, but that's
Yeah, the definition of dependency.
25.
Once they hit 26, they
We
get
have no way to prove that they actually are dependent into that.
CalPERS regulates that. You have to submit documentation.
The documentation is usually tax form.
Okay, so that's one question. The answer to. Next question is, and this is for premiums only. It doesn't cover co-pays or anything.
Correct. This is just for premium.
It's for premiums. Okay, and we only reimburse the amount that's actually we get receipts for.
That's correct.
I like it.
That's,
Yeah, and that is an actual.
2 out of 3.
That's an employee, that's the CERT, the California Employees Retirement Benefit Trust, that is required by them. Will not disperse anything unless we receive evidence of actual payment.
It's about
It's what?
about equitable.
Between who and who?
The problem here is with CalPERS. Any of us that are retired know very well your Medicare premiums are one thing, and that pays 80% of whatever Medicare says is usual and customary, which may be wildly different from whatever your doctor or your hospital charges. And then if you want to buy a Medicare supplement plan, which I have, that to pay the other 20% of what Medicare says is covered, it only pays 80% of it. My Medicare supplement plan costs a good deal more than my Medicare covered.
Okay, so
And I think that's why most of the people have to choose one or the other, because CalPERS won't allow you to choose both. They choose the supplement plan and they pay the Medicare straight.
That is correct.
so does this also cover things like vision and dental plans, or is it just?
No.
Does not. And that's clear in the write-up that we'll.
Yeah, no, it doesn't cover that unless some plan that they choose has some level of coverage in there, which is going to be nominal. I actually have a lot of retirees who use the maximum 18 months of COBRA for dental and vision to maintain those coverages because they are not robust. in
Some
any
of your
way.
Medicare Advantage programs will cover it.
And drug plans, are they included in this?
And the supplement, the CalPERS supplement has a prescription plan in it. And and most of our retirees do use that because it is more comprehensive than having to buy both off of the market.
My drug plan is 200 a month. So it's not significant. Okay,
So that's the third Medicare related policy.
I have 4.
CalPERS supplemental plan is a combo plan. It includes prescription, so it is a good.
That's a good thing.
Right, well,
I have a couple.
I don't. As you've said many times, we are very generous with our retirement. I worked for major oil companies and we don't get anywhere near like this. So it's just, I just think it's astonishing.
You know, aerospace companies.
What's that?
You know, aerospace companies.
Yeah, I just, I think it's a general question. Why do we feel that we have to be so generous? I know we've done it for years.
Separate
This is an
question
extension of
from
that.
what we're dealing with today, but yes.
Why do we feel as a board this is appropriate? I don't.
Are the other sanitary district in the county, or in the region, doing the same thing?
I'm a CalPERS retired. I pay most of my own oil insurance costs. The agency that I work for pays like $100 a month. You gotta pay most of it. It's pretty unusual, I think, to have 100% paid. Now, 100% paid, they can't go above 2,600.
No, and you'll have some folks that live out of state or something like that, and it is very expensive to leverage CalPERS plans of any sort out of state, and so they'll be paying significantly out of pocket. So it'll always cover it. Like I said, statistically it's almost 50-50 under the current arrangement, and I mean that's not exactly what the policy indicates, and so it's really a policy question, and then the logistics of administering it.
What year did we were we so generous?
Actually, ironically, you guys have always been this generous. And actually,
I guess, yeah.
well, actually, ironically, you used to be more generous because I think at one time like Obamacare structure, from what I've researched, anything that you didn't use, you got back. And I think the cap was $1,200 or $1,400.
Oh,
Yeah, something, it was a lot. Yeah, and then I think it was 2008 or 9 that they changed it to the 650. Yeah, I think. Anyway, and so it's always been this generous.
So my question is not answerable or resolvable tonight.
We address
And
this.
so the question is, what do we do? But I would like to address that at some point with the board, because we don't have to do this forever. And we already have seen, as every one of those people that came in tonight, there's probably 10 out there that feel the same way. Our fees are just getting too high. And this is one of the reasons, that we're overly generous, I think, with both our pay and our benefits. But it's not for tonight to resolve, but I would like to perhaps address it at some committee meeting and try to figure out what makes more sense.
In addition, how much is the district being out on an annual basis for all this OPEB?
For our retiree benefits?
Yes.
Well, we pay 250, I think it was 253 this year, but we get 100% back out of the trust fund. So we're just fronting it.
The trust fund comes from.
They pre-funded it. The district pre-funded it. They
Yeah, okay, yes.
1.8
Years ago, the board was putting a lot of money into the trust fund, more than necessary.
Actually, they front loaded it with like 1.8 million, and then subsequently over 3 additional years, I think it was, they put in less than like 40,000, and then it just grew so exponentially over time that it just is super funded.
Well, if you start with a big number, it gets bigger, you get a little small return, and it might still be a big number.
But it depends on how many people are using it. Anyway, I
put 253, that's 253,000 a year.
I think our cash back is something like 8,000 or 9,000. It's not really all that.
No, it's nominal, and the 253 is retirees only. It's not employees. Yeah, our cashback is very nominal.
There aren't that many people.
Visit whether that should be, this issue should be part of the conversation. So, Jim?
I have a couple of, the way I understand is that right now, some of our employees are paying for the Medicare cost, Part B, directly themselves, they're not getting reimbursed. A simple option before us is that we can reimburse them for their medical Part B costs that they're paying out of pocket. Is that a separate option from this trust fund?
They are the same option. So we would reimburse them, and then we would be reimbursed at the end of the fiscal year by the trust fund. We're only fronting
the trust fund, and the trust fund reimburse them from our general fund expenses.
Yes. No, so we can only seek reimbursement from the trust fund at the end of the fiscal year. So all of our costs for retiree health benefits, we have to front, and then they give it back to us within 30 or 45 days at the end of each fiscal year.
Okay, so using the trust fund is the primary recommendation you guys are making.
I would not recommend anything else at this time until such time you have did some of the balance of the trust fund. You can't even, your trust fund is so super funded, they won't even take any more of your money.
Yeah, I know.
The IRS felt that.
They actually, I think that before the 8 or 10 years comes in, it won't be depleted in 8 or 10 years. It'll be called basically 100% funded, which means you'll actually start moving backwards, and then your liability goes up because you don't have enough funding in there. At that time, as you near that, then you can recontribute if you so choose. And there are methods to do that as far as getting reimbursement and then recontributing and just cycling the money through and that sort of thing, which obviously we can address when that time comes. But there are no options available for discussion. I've asked them they're like, nope, we don't want any more of your money.
Okay, so what's next? We want to direct staff to go ahead and pursue.
Well, it's going to be whether continuation of the post-retirement health benefits.
I assume they're going to have to bring back specific ordinances or
Yes.
policies.
So our policy is somewhat written to already do this. This is purely administrative direction. However, my recommendation would be to review the current resolution and handbook to better articulate what the benefit is and the manner in which it will be provided, because that is not clear. And since it does indicate that there will be some direct expense to an employee until such time they receive reimbursement from the district, I think that needs to be made clear. So I would recommend bringing formal policy back at a later date to just clean up some of the language that's a little bit vague. Otherwise, I'm looking for direction to implement the internal process to utilize the trust fund to actually do what the policy says currently, which is allow the full use of the $260 a month for our Medicare, for all retirees, regardless of where it's from.
So another question. Is this going to be held be retroactive for those employees? Because we're going point forward, now we do it this way, but for the last however long we haven't. So what happens to all those people? Are they gonna come and say, I want to be reimbursed for that period of time?
Would recommend that the board in their motion direct staff date specific. That essentially it begins at this time so that we can have it memorialized that we are changing the process effective. And then there won't be any eligibility for retroactive reimbursement.
Or
Absolutely.
yes, motion, all of that. The thing with the retirement account, that it's payable only for premiums to the 2650, that they have to provide us receipt. So before we can reimburse them anything. And I don't know what else is in that.
And the effective date.
Effective date is the date of whenever that gets,
June 1st,
So-
July 1st.
it's not gonna get resolved July 1st, for all the paperwork that has to go into it now.
Well, it just allows people to submit stuff that they've already paid if we take June 1st, but I mean, we'll have to do a full communication to all of our retirees of what this process looks like.
Not no aversion to July 1st either, since we're doing it now mid-June.
That's a good fiscal year break.
I agree. So I think July 1st would be good.
It is.
July 1st.
Second that motion.
Roll call.
You sure? Would you repeat it? No. Back abstain.
Director Marks,
Yes.
Director Kintosh,
Yes.
Director Quillisi,
Yes.
Director Reed, Chair Ulrich.
Yes.
And then just for the record, Jack is abstaining from voting on this.
Okay, and we had enough forum to do that.
All right, so we have items 13 through 19.
Even file.
Monthly investment reports, no action necessary. Staff reports, anything, Scott?
Staff reports other than what's in here, or?
If GM
Oh,
comments.
GM, you have GM comments. Yeah, I do have two GM comments. I want to give the board notice that OVSD is going to be hosting a CWEA workshop on July 15th. We're going to have about 115, 125 attendees from the Tri-Counties area. So that's going to be San Luis Obispo, Santa Barbara, and Ventura County. It's all the professionals that work in the sanitary industry. We're going to have a series of vendors there. It could be about a dozen vendors. It's going to be down at the treatment plant. There's going to be 9 classes in the morning. The vendors will start getting there around 6 o'clock. Classes, I think, start around 7:30 or so. Classes will wrap up around noon. The tri-tip lunch, or they're doing a barbecue lunch. Anyone at the board is interested in attending, please reach out to Allison and I. We will put you on the reserve list. We'll make a contribution, the district will make the contribution to CWEA. Afterwards, we're going to wrap up the plan. We're excited to do that.
What's the date again?
July 15th.
15th, that's Monday. Monday?
Yep. I thought it was Wednesday.
You're right, the 11th is a Saturday.
July 15th is Wednesday.
Third Wednesday in July.
I also would like to let the board know that we have gotten some comments from FEMA. And Cal OES has validated $1.58 million. But that's not, there's the check.
And the video that said.
The check is not in the mail. They said that they're thinking about writing the check that's what they're saying. If I had to guess, Alice and I have talked about it. I think we could probably get it in the first quarter of the next fiscal year. So July through September, it may be. But that's some good news.
That's the Cal OES money.
Well, Cal OES is the ones that notify us. So it's the 1.58 million. This would be for the Ojai Valley Trail project. So this is up underneath the trail. Yeah.
That we
Something.
for that project.
So that's
So every project that's been funded, the full budget amount so far.
progress. I'd like to let the board know that the treatment plant, the new fine screen is in working. We're actually seeing some change in the solids and the trash that's out running through the oxidation ditches. It's quite impressive, actually. And I just want to wrap up. I had an opportunity to speak with Congressman Carvajal's staff. I was able to present to them our difficulty in dealing with FEMA. And I let them know that when a small agency like ourselves has a $5 million emergency as a result of something that we can't control, and we apply for FEMA funding, it's really burdensome on the district to wait 3.5, 4 years, 5 years for this payment. They were receptive of it. Other attendees there at that meeting were United Water Conservation District had staff there, Ventura River Water District had staff there, and the Ventura Port District had staff there. All three of them echoed very similar stuff, though none of them had the magnitude, either dollar amount or as a percentage of revenue is what we had. Carvajal's staff was receptive to hearing that.
You made a contact because we need avail of that near term.
It helps to go through that office. I had an estate, late brother. I had waited more than a year and a half. Tax refund. $100. Called Carvajal's office, Santa Barbara. Weeks later, I had a check. Does work.
For $200.
I was contacted by a tax advocate, IRS employee. I gave him my name and case number, and he said, "Oh, that's a congressional request. I'll get you a check right away."
Nice to know the system works. Okay, let's see. I think that's all we have here. At the
we can stay
on the open session, we're going to go into a closed session now.
Yep.
So
Items you want to get.
Yeah,
Okay.
I made some notes on it.
So Dennis gets to read item 20 into the record.
Board is now going to go into a closed session with legal counsel on anticipated litigation, one case. We want to make a couple of issues before we go into closed session. One is just sort of a general reminder to all the board members to make sure that whatever is discussed in closed session stays in closed session, is not shared any outside participants or even, discussed amongst yourselves outside of closed session.
What are you allowed to say about a $10 million fine?
We'll discuss that in closed session.
Yeah, I haven't started recording.
We have not started closed session.
Oh,
So secondly, some concerns have been raised due to Jack's remote participation that we should confirm that there's no other individuals with him in the room.
That's part of.
Yes, which is a good idea. I've never seen any, but in open session, I have noticed people in and out. So Jack, before we go into closed session, can you confirm that you're alone in the room where you are?
Your hand for yes.
He's unmuted. Jack, are you alone in the room for the closed session?
Yeah.
Okay, good. And could you also confirm that while we're in closed session, that no one will be coming in and out of your room?
But I what?
Can you confirm that while we're in closed session, no one coming in and out of your room until we're open? Confirm that for us.
There is no one in my room.
Okay, great. It'll remain that way during closed session, correct?
Yeah, right.
Okay, that let's go into closed session and we'll reconvene in open session afterward.
Just
Yeah.
Everything has been reviewed. Okay, we're back in open session. Any reportable actions?
Reportable action.
Okay, very good. At this point, unless there's any other comments or anything else, I'm going to adjourn at 8:29.